Hello students, today we are going to start the fifth module of Environmental Engineering and Management. This module mainly deals with air pollution. Before going into what is air pollution, let's see atmosphere as a resource, how it acts. The atmospheric composition mainly consists of nitrogen, which is 78.08%, oxygen 20.95%, argon 0.93%, carbon dioxide 0.04%, and rest of the gases. Now, the ecosystem services provided by the atmosphere mainly includes it blocks the UV radiation, it moderates the climate, it redistributes water in the hydrological cycle. Now let's see what are the different layers of the atmosphere. Starting from the crust of the earth, up to 7 to 16 kilometers is the troposphere. Then comes the tropopause, then comes the stratosphere, then the stratopause, then the mesosphere, mesopause, thermosphere, and the thermopause. And beyond that is the outer space. The atmosphere mainly extends up to the stratosphere, and the ozone layer there forms as a blanket around the Earth's atmosphere. Now let's see what is air pollution. As a definition, pollution is an atmospheric condition in which certain substances are present in such concentrations that they can produce undesirable effects on man and his environment. Now let's see the classification of the air pollutants. The air pollutant is a substance in the air that adversely affects human beings and the ecosystem. The first classification of the air pollutant is mainly based on the source. There are mainly two sources, the natural source and the unnatural or anthropogenic source or the man-made source. The natural source mainly includes the forest fires, pollens, dust storms, volcanic ash, sea salt nuclei, etc. The unnatural or the anthropogenic source or the man-made source mainly includes the burning of the fossil fuels like coal, wood, and other fuels, then the use of cars, the fuels that are used in homes and factories. The next classification of pollutants is primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. The primary pollutants are emitted directly from the source. For example, the smoke, the dust, the mist, the SO2 emitted, the carbon monoxide emitted, the nitric oxide emitted directly from the source. Secondary pollutants are formed in the atmosphere due to chemical interactions between the primary pollutants and the normal atmospheric constituents. The examples are sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, the PAN compounds, the ozone, aldehydes, ketones, etc. This figure shows the primary air pollutants emitted from various natural sources and human sources or man-made sources. They mainly include carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, hydrocarbons, and particulates. These primary air pollutants undergo reactions in the atmosphere and are converted into secondary air pollutants. They mainly include HNO2, HNO3, SO3, H2SO4, H2O2, ozone, PANs, nitrates, sulfates, etc. The third classification of air pollutants is mainly based on the size of the particles. It mainly includes particulate matter and gaseous pollutants. Particulate matter include all atmospheric substances that are not gases. Example, smoke, dust, mist, fumes, fog, metal ions, etc. They have the size range between 100 micrometer to zero point 0.1 micrometer. Gaseous pollutants mainly include carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, hydrocarbons, etc. These usually have the size less than 0.1 micrometer. Now let's see what is particulate matter. Particles of different sizes and structures that are released into the atmosphere. They are present in many sources including fossil fuels, dust, smoke, fog, etc. They can build up respiratory system. It aggregates heart and lung disease. It increases the risk of respiratory infection. The particulate matter mainly includes dust, which are solid particles of size between 1 to 200 micrometer. Smoke, which are solid particles of size between 0.01 to 1 micrometer. Fumes, which are solid particles of size between 0.1 to 1 micrometer. Mist, which are liquid droplets having size less than 10 micrometer. Fog, which are mist which obscure vision. Aerosol, which include all solid and liquid suspensions below 1 micrometer. Next is gaseous pollutants. They mainly include carbon monoxide, oxides of sulfur, nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, and ozone. Carbon monoxide. It is the largest pollutant in urban atmosphere. It is colorless, odorless, tasteless. It is produced when carbon does not burn in fossil fuels like coal, gas, or oil. It is present in car exhaust. It deprives body of oxygen, causing headaches, fatigue, and impaired vision. Next is sulfur dioxide. These are colorless with sharp pungent odor. They are produced when coal and fuel oil are burned. They are present in power plant exhausts. It forms sulfur trioxide, sulfuric acid, etc. in the atmosphere. They narrow the airway, causing wheezing and shortness of breath, especially in those with asthma. Next are the oxides of nitrogen. These mainly include nitrous oxide, nitric oxide, and nitrogen dioxide. The nitrous oxide occurs naturally. It's not a pollutant. The nitric oxide are colorless, odorless, and produced by fuel combustion. Nitrogen dioxide are reddish-brown gas having pungent odor. They are produced when the nitric oxide combines with oxygen in the atmosphere. They are formed by photochemical reactions. They are present in car exhaust and power plants. They affect the lungs and causes wheezing, increases the chance of respiratory infection. Next is hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons may be in the form of gas or volatile liquid. They are saturated like methane, unsaturated like alkenes and acetylenes, aromatic or cyclic compounds like benzene. Alone, they do not cause any harmful effect. They undergo photochemical reaction with nitrogen oxides and form oxidants like ozone. Next is ground level ozone. At upper level, ozone shields Earth from sun's harmful UV rays. At ground level, ozone is a harmful pollutant. They are formed from car, power and chemical plant exhausts. They irritate respiratory system and cause asthma. They reduce lung function by inflaming and damaging linings of lungs. This table here shows the major air pollutants, their composition, whether they are primary or secondary pollutants, and their characteristics. For example, the particulate matter like dust, its composition is a variable. It is a primary pollutant and its characteristics are it is solid particles. Similarly, for lead, the composition is Pb. It is a primary pollutant and it is solid particle. Whereas sulfuric acid, its composition is H2SO4. It is a secondary pollutant and it appears as liquid droplets. Nitrogen oxides like nitrogen dioxide, it's having a composition NO2. It's a primary pollutant and it is reddish brown color. Sulfur oxide like sulfur dioxide is a primary pollutant and is colorless with strong odor. Carbon oxides mainly include carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. They have the composition CO for carbon monoxide and CO2 for carbon dioxide. Both are primary pollutants. Both are colorless and odorless gas. Hydrocarbons mainly include methane, that is CH4, which is a primary pollutant. It is colorless, odorless gas. Benzene is having a composition C6H6. It's primary pollutant and it is a liquid with sweet smell. Ozone, its composition is O3. It's a secondary pollutant. It is pale blue gas with acrid odor. Air toxics. Chlorine. Cl2 is the composition. It is a primary pollutant and its characteristics are yellow-green gas. Now let's see the behavior and the fate of these air pollutants. Particulates, they're usually removed as wet removal by precipitation, that is by rainfall, snowfall, etc. Dry removal is by sedimentation, impaction and diffusion. The gaseous pollutants, the wet removal is by precipitation, chemical reaction in the atmosphere, and absorption or reaction at land and ocean surfaces. Now let's see the effects of air pollution. Let's see the indoor effects. Pesticides, mosquito repellents, cleaning agents can cause toxic conditions. Building materials like asbestos, glass fiber, paints, glues, varnishes are all health hazards. Cigarette smoke affects both smokers and non-smokers. Traditional stoves that use wood, coal or animal dung spew out poison. The outdoor effects mainly include burning of fossil fuels in automobiles, power stations, industries, etc. The mining activities, natural emissions from decaying animals, disasters like earthquakes, volcanic eruption, dust storms, festivals like Diwali. Now, let's see what is photochemical smog. It is combination of gases with water vapor and dust. Combination of words smoke and fog, that is smoke plus fog gives smog. It forms when heat and sunlight react gases. It occurs often with heavy traffic, high temperatures and calm winds. The first smog-related deaths were in London in 1873. The death toll was 500 people at that time. This photochemical smog, it limits visibility, decreases the UV radiation, yellow-black color over cities, causes respiratory problems and bronchial related deaths. This figure shows the formation of photochemical smog. We know that there are various sources of pollutants which release nitric oxide, carbon dioxide, hydrocarbons to the atmosphere. The nitric oxide combines with the oxygen in the atmosphere to form nitrogen dioxide. The nitrogen dioxide reacts with the water vapor present in the atmosphere to form nitric acid. This is a photochemical reaction. The nitrogen dioxide combines with the nascent oxygen in the atmosphere and the hydrocarbon in the atmosphere to form PAN compounds, that is peroxyacyl nitrate compounds. The nitrogen dioxide also gets split into nitric oxide and nascent oxygen. The carbon dioxide released goes to the atmosphere and reacts with the hydrocarbons. They then react with the nascent oxygen present in the atmosphere and undergo photochemical reaction to form formaldehydes and other aldehydes. The oxygen in the atmosphere can react with the nascent oxygen in the presence of hydrocarbons and oxides of nitrogen to form ozone. The air pollution in Beijing, Mexico City and Delhi due to the photochemical smog is shown in the figure. The major air pollution disasters include Meuse Valley, Belgium in 1930 which caused 60 deaths, Donora, USA in 1948 caused 20 deaths and many became ill, London 1952 400 deaths, in London again 1956 1000 deaths, London in 1962 700 deaths, New York, USA 1966 168 deaths, Seveso, Italy in 1976 many had skin problems, premature birth, abortions, etc. Bhopal in 1984 had resulted in 2,500 deaths and 1 lakh people with other effects, and there are so many more such disasters. Now let's see the effects of air pollution on human. Low level exposure results in irritation of eyes, causes inflammation of respiratory tract. Long-term exposure can develop into chronic respiratory diseases like asthma, bronchitis. The air pollution can also cause skin allergy. Some heavy metals like mercury can cause cancer or other tissue damage. The table here shows the health effects of several major air pollutants like particulates, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, carbon monoxide and ozone. This table here shows the effects of metal ions. For example, lead, its sources auto exhaust, paints, storage batteries. Health effects include neurotoxin, it affects the cardiovascular system, causes behavioral disorders and even death. Cadmium, its source includes coal, zinc mining, incineration of plastic containers, refining of metals, tobacco smoke. It causes cardiovascular disease and hypertension, interference with zinc and copper metabolism, kidney damage. Nickel, its source is combustion of coal, diesel and residual oils, tobacco, smokes, chemicals and catalysts, steel and non-ferrous alloy manufacture. Health effects include respiratory symptoms, lung cancer. Mercury, sources combustion of fossil fuels, evaporation from oil mining, exhaust from metal smelters, chloralkali, paints and pharmaceuticals. Health effects include nerve and brain damage, kidney damage. The major effect of the air pollutants on the environment is greenhouse effect. This is caused mainly due to greenhouse gases like methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbons, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, etc. The greenhouse effect in turn causes global warming. It also causes the rise in the sea water level due to melting of the polar ice caps. Another effect is the thinning of the upper ozone layer or the ozone layer depletion. Another important effect on the environment is acid rain. The oxides of nitrogen and the oxides of sulfur reach the atmosphere and react with the moisture present in the atmosphere to form acids like nitric acid and sulfuric acid. Another problem is the indoor air pollution. So let's see what are the control measures. First one is reduce the use of fossil fuels and increase the use of renewable energy. Use fuels with low sulfur and ash content. Improve the quality of vehicular fuel. Encourage the use of public transport, walk or use a cycle. Plant trees. Industries and waste disposal sites should be situated outside the city. Emission rates should be restricted to permissible level by each and every industry. Proper control measures by industries should be taken like scrubbers, electrostatic precipitators, etc. So that's all as an introduction to air pollution, its sources, its classification and effects. Thank you.